Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're hopefully going to have racing at Newbury, Naas, Newcastle and Wolverhampton tomorrow. We definitely need Newbury on, otherwise it's going to be quite a boring day of racing. I'm a little bit worried, there's heavy going, it's still raining. I know it's not meant to rain tomorrow there, but it has for some of today. And it was already heavy going. So we will see. Interesting that Nicky Henderson's also suggested that Shishkin will run on the heavy going. We'll see. We'll see, Nicky. We'll see. Anyway, starting off with horses that I'm interested in tomorrow, and the first one actually comes away from Newbury, and it runs at Naas. Now, this race, the first race on the card at Naas, is a race that obviously everybody will be watching. Previous winners of this include Brazil, Aramax, Band of Outlaws, all went on to win the Boodles, the Juvenile Handicap Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. Last year, Sir Alan won it, but back and forth was Jazzy Matty. I think third was Biker, who ended up finishing second in the final. So it's a race that generally they end up in the Boodles Juvenile and run a big race. Now, I like one in this race, and I've actually just put a tweet out, and I'm waiting to see if we get any replies. Will a horse who's only had 3 runs over hurdles be qualified to run in the handicaps at Cheltenham? Because the horse I'm interested in is actually the outside of the field at the moment. It's Nara. Nara would run here for JP McManus. JP McManus has had 3 runners in this race since its inception. Aramax and Brazil. 2 of them went on to win, and 2 of them went on to win the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. He also had Coneth, though, who finished 5th, well beaten at 11 to 10. But the winner of that race that year was Band of Outlaws. Band of Outlaws went on to win the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. And then a few runs later, actually was running in the colours of JP McManus. Now, it's not uncommon, and it's not something that I think is beyond the realms of reality, in that Band of Outlaws may have already been purchased by JP McManus after winning this race or after winning the race before at Limerick, and was allowed to run in the other colours. Maybe JP had an interest in the horse, but the other owner still owned the largest share, so was still allowed to run in those colours. With that in mind, he could well have essentially owned 3 horses that ran in this race that went on to win the Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. He's got one more here in Nara. I think Nara is very good. I actually like her. I think her form is fine. She won a fillies listed race over hurdles in France on heavy going with the tongue tie fitted. Last time out, when it came over, went to Ireland for Henry de Bromhead. For some reason, he took the tongue strap off and he put hood on. She clearly didn't act to her best there. She still was only beaten 3 lengths by Eagle Fang, although she was 4th, well behind Nürburgring and Carla Conti. She wasn't that far behind Eagle Fang, who is being well supported. And I think on the basis of that I expect her to beat Eagle Fang here, because I think she's a better horse than Eagle Fang. And yeah, I think she's very interesting, to be honest. I know she now has to give a weight away to the other juveniles here. She's got to give, what's she got to give to Eagle Fang? 7, having got 7 previously. So I can understand why people are knocking that and would be saying, she's not going to turn around that form. But I think she might be able to turn around that form, to be honest. And I don't think JP would be running her here if he didn't think she was good enough to go well here. And I don't think Henry de Bromhead would have ran her straight into a grade 3 if he didn't think she was grade 3 quality. And she went off 11 to 2 that day. What was that? 3rd favourite behind Batman Girac, Carla Conti were the 2 in front. Now, Carla Conti obviously went really close to winning it, and Batman Girac is quite a short price, or favourite for the Boodles. Favourite for the Boodles. So we've got a horse who's beaten the favourite for the Boodles in Nara, and a horse who's going to take on the second favourite in the Boodles, Lark in the Morning, running tomorrow. If Nara wins, it would not surprise me if she ran in the Boodles. Purely this is the only question I have. Is she allowed to? Off the back of just 3 runs? I'm not sure. So I'm waiting for an answer on that. But even so, I'll still be backing Nara tomorrow because I think they will be trying to win that race. And I think JP knows he wants to win this race. It's a race he clearly enjoys. He enjoys winning. So, yeah, that's my angle on Nara in the first. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it, the hood's off, the tongue tie's back on, which is what she performed well in at Ortoy. The hood she didn't perform well in at Ferryhouse. So, moving away and now to Newbury. And I went through Newbury's card and looked for horses that I felt would act on the ground. And there wasn't loads in every race. There was only a few. And I kind of had this one down as these two. These two were my interesting horses in this race. Kintara, who we backed before, and Ikarak, who we've backed before. Really frustrating that they're both in against each other. Now, the thing about Kintara is, if we look at his R figures, you can roughly see what sort of level he can achieve, and we kind of know what mark he is. I know he's been running well recently. He's won his last couple, or won it 2 before, and then ran well again at Warwick when getting beat. But I kind of feel that might be reaching near his peak. And that would be a slight concern for me for Kintara. Whereas Ikarak has already achieved a 151.4 when winning at Worcester. And probably suggesting that when things go right, Ikarak can certainly bounce back. Now, obviously we can ignore the next run because it was a win, a 142.9. This was disappointing at Cheltenham. But interestingly, even at Cheltenham, in what I think was a better race than this, got really well supported, went off 6-1 in the end, went from the front, didn't get home, needed the experience. I'm hoping it was needed the experience and can go to Newbury tomorrow, hopefully take up the running, because I think they may find it quite difficult to pick up in their really heavy going at Newbury. I do think Ikarak will cope with conditions fine. He's got plenty of runs at Ortoy on heavy going. He's won a couple of races, and he won 2 runs ago, as we know, at Newcastle on heavy going when beating Young Jack. So I don't think the issue will be the ground. I think he'll go to the front and hopefully make all of the running in the 1:30 at Newbury. And he is currently 15-2. He's currently 15-2, and I think he will run a big race, hopefully getting to the front and seeing if anything can pass him. Move on to the 205. Just a quick mention of this race. I still don't know whether she's going to run. We know what Nicky Anderson's like with the ground. He loves taking horses out as soon as it gets a little bit wet. I'd love to see Protectorat win on the basis that they're clearly targeted lots of prize money. I think Sam Brown is going to go very close here, to be honest. I think he will like that ground, and he is being backed accordingly. But it's not a race I'm going to get involved in. So, moving on to the last race, you can see I've hidden the ratings for the 315. It is the Betfair Hurdle, so sign up if you want to see these ratings. Tell Her the Name is a non-runner, so we can discount that one. I went through and I looked at, again, those that will act on the ground, and I think there's 5, maybe. They are, in my opinion, Iberico Lord, Knickerbocker Glory, L'Eau de Sud, Spirit Donu, and Ocean de Mott. So we'll go through them one by one of those 5. So Knickerbocker Glory, I think will definitely handle the ground. He loves it really soft. The only thing I would say about Knickerbocker Glory is he's got a very good effort last year in the Imperial Cup when finishing second to Isio. Now Isio's gone on and done really well. Playful Saint would have in 3rd if he'd been kept in training. I don't know where he disappeared to. Could have got injured. Knickerbocker Glory finished second that day. That came off a mark of 129. Is currently rated, just loading it up, 137. So if he dropped a couple of pounds and got beat here, relatively comfortably, and dropped a couple of pounds, went to say 135, off a £6 higher mark, having been beaten by Isio, who clearly was very, very well handicapped that day. Isio was winning off a mark of 132, is now running off 143. Off £6 higher mark, you would have to think that Isio could certainly run a big race in that Imperial Cup, and I just wonder whether that might be where they're going with Knickerbocker Glory. So I'm actually going to take Knickerbocker Glory out of the equation on the basis that maybe he's being saved for a different race, with the idea of getting him dropped here because I imagine there's going to be the bonus on offer for winning the Imperial Cup and a race at the Cheltenham Festival. The second horse that I don't know, I almost don't know whether he's good enough off his current mark. Off 139, right near the top, is Spirit Donu. Now, he's got some good form. I'm not totally sure what he beat last time in just a moderate handicap. It was supposedly a Class 2, but I don't think it was the best Class 2, to be honest. Where's Booksy even gone? Went to Sandown. The second has since finished 4th and fallen in handicaps. The third's done alright. The third has Punta de Esta. Did come out and win at Haydock. But again, it was a very, very poor race and won really comfortably, but that was on heavy going, so I think all the distances were exaggerated. I just don't know how much more improvement there's going to be from Spirit Donu compared to some of the others. So I'm taking Spirit Donu out as well. So I'm down to 3. They are Iberico Lord, L'Eau de Sud, and Castle de Motte. So let's have a look at Iberico Lord. Another horse that I really like. Finished second to Under Control at Sandown. I think Under Control might be weighted for Sandown as well for that Imperial Cup. Iberico Lord clearly is a good horse. Probably wants these softer conditions. Maybe disappointed at Ascot because it was too quick. It went onto good ground. Maybe didn't like that. I think Iberico Lord is definitely one that will handle the going. There's not a lot of negatives about Iberico Lord, to be honest. The only one you could potentially say is, has he done his winning when winning the Greatwood Hurdle? Now up to 1 off 126, now running off 134. That might be that's too much to overcome in a race that maybe there's a couple of others that are still well handicapped. So I'm going to take Iberico Lord out, and I'm left with 2, and I'm going to back both of these 2. The first one is Castle de Motte. I mean, it's really obvious. He's favourite. He should be favourite as well, to be honest. He really should. I mean, the way the Irish handicapper and the British handicapper work, they work in different ways, and the Irish handicapper just doesn't know what he's doing, really. The English handicapper doesn't know what he's doing. He's got his marks. Generally, he marks them higher than in Ireland. In England, for some reason, he's given a Castle de Motte a lower handicap mark. So that's why they've come here. And they didn't go for like the Liffey handicap last week at Leopardstown, because he's potentially absolutely thrown in. Has some decent form on soft ground. Can jump hurdles. There should be no issues with a Castle de Motte. And he's the right favourite. The second one I want to have a bet on, and I'm hoping that this horse isn't aimed at something else as well. I don't think he will, to be honest. I really don't think he's going to be aimed anywhere else at this stage, and that's L'Eau de Sud. Now, I believe that Dan Skelton thinks he's very good. The reason for that is the last couple of runs, he finished 3rd at Kelso in the Morbattle Hurdle, and that's the only concern I have, is maybe they'll target the Morbattle Hurdle again. But to be honest, I think they'll try and win this race as well and see if they can win it instead. So when he finished 3rd in the Morbattle Hurdle, he was behind Colonel Mustard, who was clearly nicely handicapped for Cheltenham as well. He didn't end up going to Cheltenham. He ended up going to Ayr, finishing 2nd in the Scottish Champion Hurdle behind Rabaul. So that was fine. And then he was also behind Benson, who has already won again since. Could well be interesting for the Coral Cup when he goes back up in trip next time. Ran a good race recently in the Scottish County Hurdle, went 4th. So Lodesu probably was beaten by 2 good horses there. Last time out, he then came out and ran in the Greatwood. So back in November, we haven't seen him since. He pulled up, and you'd have to say that was disappointing. He went off 11-1. But the fact that Dan Skelton has therefore run him in a Kelso race, a more battle hurdle, where if you win it and then win at the Cheltenham Festival, you win a bonus. Dan Skelton loves trying to do that. Obviously, he's gone close with Langadan. Then he ran him a Greatwood Hurdle. What was that prize money for winning that? It was a lot, wasn't it? I can't find it at the moment. Oh, hang on a second. 56 grand to win that. And now he's running him in the Betfair Hurdle, where it's worth 87 grand to win that. I don't know why Dan would be running Lodesu in this race if he didn't think it had a chance. Other than I can get him down a couple of pound for that more battle hurdle. Last year, the more battle hurdle, you could get in off a mark of 122. He ran off 131. He's currently running off 129. If he ran off 127, you would imagine he would go very close in the more battle, potentially win that and end up in the county hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. But I think he will be trying in this. I think they'll go 2 ways here. They'll go to win the race, and if it's not going to happen, they won't ride him hard. They won't try and get 4th or 5th. They will try and get 9th or 10th, get him dropped a couple of pound. So he's almost one that he's almost worth backing win only, I think. I think I'm going to back him win only on that basis that I generally do a lot of mine win only anyway. But if you're listening to this and you do like to have each way bets, I think this one should be win only as well. I think both of them should be win only bets. They're either going to win it or they're not going to be good enough, in my opinion. Lodesu will either win it or be held up and looked after, making sure that they can come back for the more battle hurdle. And a Casa de Mott will either be really well handicapped off 133 or not good enough at all for off 133. So yeah, they would be my 2 in the more battle hurdle. So a quick recap: the 120 at Naas, I like Nara. Has anyone replied? Might have a reply here. Has to be 4. Might be slightly different for Boodles Juvenile, but not 100% sure. Fancy a novice for the county? Yeah, it's not, unfortunately, James. Thanks for the reply, but it's the Boodles. It's the Boodles that I'm looking at. Eek. So Nara, currently 10-1. Let's hope you can get in the Boodles as well. And if I find out you can, I will also be backing Nara for the Boodles at 20s, I think she is. You can currently get 20s. The 130 at Newbury, I'm backing Ikarak to go to the front, make all the running and not get beat. And not backing anything in the Sam Brown race, but I think he'll run a race. And I'm backing a Castle de Mott and Lodesu in the Betfair Hurdle. Thanks for listening. I know my videos are a little bit different to a lot of people's. I think that I try to make mine so much more real. They're not scripted. They're not... I don't... as I said, I don't follow a script. I'll talk things through with you as well, so you can understand my where I'm going with it, rather than just going, I like this horse because A, B, C. I try and explain a little bit further as to why I like a horse. Hopefully our recent poor run can certainly end soon.